Hello, CSFL. It's back. We are back again today. This time to talk about a couple of different things. We're not here just to talk about the league goings on and the season, the end of season madness that saw a whole host of teams possibly be within the shot of the wild card entry. We're actually in the thick of it now. We've gone through the wild card games. We're into the actual first set of the divisional championships, and with me today to talk through that is Gilbert from the Seahawks, who was here last time. Congratulations, I guess, is the first thing to say. You're through, obviously, in the end. Quite comfortable for you guys, but obviously you've got a big playoff matchup coming on over the weekend.
Yeah, definitely against the Saints. Yeah, offense number one, passing, rushing, pretty good defense. So I'm in for a tough match. So
yeah, I mean there are a lot of tough matchups for these divisional championships, I think, to begin with, and we're going to break them down today and go through them. And then for those of you who are wondering as well, that's obviously been posted on the forum. We are going to the lottery for the draft as well, and explain through that. And Gilbert is kindly going to be the man of the day to draw the numbers out the hat. So anyone, I'm looking at you, Carolina Panthers, who get annoyed that you don't get that number one pick. It's not me to blame, it's Gilbert. So just making that absolutely clear at the beginning of this episode. But we're going to get through that later on. Let's talk about the playoffs first, and the business end of the season. We're here now. There's been a lot of talk about teams that are possibly championship favourites, not championship favourites, Cinderella stories. Got all of it this year. I guess the first one to break down is probably the what you'd probably call the blockbuster matchup. I think if this were to be a televised playoff series in the CSFL in terms of the Cowboys against the Packers, two historic franchises going head to head for the division championship. Gilbert, how do you think this one's going to play out? Do you see this being a marquee matchup, or one team probably being a clear favourite here?
Oh, this one is no clear favourite. This one has definitely no clear favourite. I think it wouldn't surprise me if it goes to OT this game, because they're pretty two evenly matched teams, as well as rosters. So, yeah, this could be easily a conference championship as well. So, yeah, this one's a great matchup.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because obviously looking at this before we came on and doing some research for the episode, looking at they obviously play each other in the regular season and end up being a bit of a bloodbath, really. In the Packers came away with a 45-3 win, but it was probably probably doesn't give us any insight into this matchup because the Cowboys at the time, I think, were still playing their bench rotation because Tony Romo didn't play and a load of other notable guys didn't actually play and were benched. So even looking into the actual regular season game, there's no insights into how this one is going to play out at all, which to me makes it a really interesting prospect. We know the Packers have had a good season. They've got a couple of injuries now, though, but the Cowboys have been on a pretty good run as well themselves.
Yeah, well, actually, the Green Bay Packers lost their last game, so yeah, it'd be pretty interesting. They lost to Chicago Bears, which I beat in the wildcard weekend. So
yeah, and they didn't rest anyone either, did they? So
no, they didn't. So I think it's going to be, yeah. Aaron Rodgers played, so he didn't really have a good last game. So I expect him to probably be on target against the Cowboys. So yeah, it's really interesting match. I think it's going to be a really interesting match.
yeah.
Cowboys I think they're coming off. How much have they won on the last?
So they've won 2 straight, I believe.
2 straight, yeah.
Yeah, beat the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles to end the season off, really.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the thing I've got down here is sort of the big thing that I think is going to decide this is it's going to be whether Dallas's passing game, which is one of the top passing games in the league, can come up against the Green Bay Packers, who are probably one of the best. I think they are the best defense actually in the league. overall towards the end in the regular season. So for me, it's a bit of offense versus defense here. It's whether Romo and his receivers can get the better of the matchup against what is a very good Packers defense.
Yeah, they I'm just looking through the stats here. The defense for Dallas. Yeah, they are, especially
in points allowed. They are, I think, the best defense in the league, if I remember right. Only allowing 184 points over the 16 games, which is an insanely low points scored against them. I think it's because they're very good at forcing mistakes and turnovers. I think, if I remember, a bit of a pesky sort of defensive line that they've got. They've got some real talent in there. Raji at defensive tackle, and that linebacker Matthews and Hawk in there, and Barnett are probably the best linebacker sort of trio that the league has to offer, I think. And then looking at the cornerbacks, they've got two elite cornerbacks in Barnett and as Muga, I believe it's how you say it. Two really good speedy cornerbacks who are good with their hands and can challenge any of the better wide receivers in the league. So for me, that's where I think this game's going to come down to, is whether Dallas can find an outlet in terms of to keep their passing game going, or whether it's going to be a case of the Packers just shutting them down completely.
Yeah, I would actually think about doing a run game, just because they have three elite cornerbacks, and like maybe depends on their tackling actually on those cornerbacks if they're high tackling, and I'll probably run more to prevent that because they are elite cornerbacks there. It's like
I mean they're not the best tacklers. I think their ratings are around about the 50s. So if you put the ball down on the deck and can get past that front line, then certainly it could open up further options for them as well, and could probably tire them out as well.
Yeah, I would actually think about doing that. And you've got as a running back here, you got Felix Jones. I think that's Felix Jones.
So Felix Jones,
So Felix Jones, it is a young one, and he's had over 1,000 rushing yards, 7 rushing touchdowns, and 4-point rushing average. So, and he has high endurance. So, I would look at him to be running the ball more this game on the outside, especially with his speed. 86.
Certainly to try and open up, I think. I mean, it's a tough one though, because I mean that Packers defense is just good up front as well. I mean, it's a tough one for me. If I had to call it, I'd probably call the Packers getting through this one. I guess the random thing I think is it depends on how Rodgers does for the Packers, because whilst they have been very effective on the defensive side, they have also been pretty effective on the offensive side, but in some games it has caused them some issues early on in the season, I believe, and then obviously the Bears managed to shut them down as well. And I'd consider probably the Cowboys to be at least a similar level to the Bears defensively. So close one. I think I agree with you though. I think I could see this one going to overtime and being a bit of a wild card shot to see who goes through here. But I mean, if I had to put my hat on it, I'd probably say the Packers go through. I just think they just have too much talent on the defensive end that it'll probably stifle the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think the defense for Green Bay Packers is going to be really important. If they shut down Bryant and all their receivers, and they probably will win. But you just don't know in playoff football. And there's not much between them actually. I know there's 3. Like one had 13 and 10 wins, but on paper it's a lot more closer than that. So,
and I think it's worth pointing out that Dallas, the first 3 or 4 games of the season, I believe, as I said, we're sort of playing their bench unit. So, you could argue those 3 wins are probably negligible if they'd have actually played their starters from the beginning of the season. I think it's because the GM was away on holiday and didn't manage to change it in time. So
Yeah.
Close to call. I mean, I'm going to say Packers in overtime. What are you going to say?
Yeah, I reckon I'll agree with you. Packers in overtime.
Okay, both going to agree on the first one then. Sorry, Cowboys. We both think you're going home to begin with, unfortunately, in a close game. So I was going to talk about the Seahawks and the Saints, but I'm going to leave that till the end because that's your team, and let's leave the suspense for you for a little while. So let's just go and talk about the Buffalo Bills against the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, the Bills who had electric starts at the beginning of the season, and at times we were thinking they would possibly compete with New England for that division there, but it looks like that sort of faded away. They managed to squeeze into the wild card entry and pull through on Thursday night against the Indianapolis Colts, who have, I believe, won 9 straight now coming into this playoffs, which leaves them with a nice record at 13-3 on a roll. But it's worth saying that the Bills have also now won 4 straight as well. So 2 teams with confidence going into this one, Gilbert.
Yes, they are. They are. Yeah, I think this is going to be another. Well, I think it'll be about field goal. But yeah, the Bills are in form. Definitely. They coming off last 4. I know they smashed the Patriots, but I think the Patriots had their backups on.
There's a Patriots
Backups
bench unit, basically.
Yeah, so looking on it, have they played each other this year? No, this is the first time they've
they
played each
haven't.
other
No,
this
this is
year.
the first time they are playing each other.
Yeah.
So for me, I think this one's going to be. I think that this is probably, unfortunately, I think where the Bills will come up short. I think the Colts will just have too much about them on offense to start to basically. I think this one's going to be a shootout if I had to pick. I can see this one out of all of the 4 playoff games that we've got coming up on Sunday. This is the one that I can see being the highest scoring game. I just think in a shootout matchup, I think the Colts will just have too much ammunition to basically enable them to get past the Bills in the end. For me, I think the key to this, if the Bills are going to squeeze through, just focusing on them for a minute and continue this sort of this run from the wild card entry. For me, it all hangs on the running game for them. The Colts, whilst their defense is fairly solid, their running defense, rushing defense is not the greatest. And therefore, I think the key man to this game is going to be this guy here, Adrian Peterson, a guy who they traded for, an elite running back. If he can cause problems, get the yardage for them, and create the space, then the Bills could be in with a shout.
Yeah, and this is another one where I think probably the focus might be on the run game again as well. So you might see again Adrian Peterson running more than usual in the other games to get through the defensive line.
Absolutely. And I think on the Colts side, a day as well. I mean, it's 2 elite running backs there, but I just think the Colts just have too many options. I think too many better options. I think than the Bills do at this stage. So they've got a die as running back, but in terms of receiver options, they've got Wayne, Garkin, Colley, all elite wide receiver options, and they've also got Clark at tight end, who is a good option as well. So I think they've got Manning as well. So for me, I think they're just going to have too much going on offense for them, for the Bills to compete. I think the Bills' defense is probably their weakest area, and I think that's probably going to come up short here in what I think is going to be a complete shootout. I think I can see this being a 25, 30 plus points each game for both teams, really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is definitely a shootout. They're going to go. There'll be no defense here. Yeah, with the options that the Colts have, then yeah, quite easily get over 30 points as well. Like they can bang on the points in pretty quick time. They can.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's unfortunate for the Bills. I think the Colts are going to have too much, but I think if the Bills are going to be in the shout, it's going to come down to whether they can get Peterson getting yardage for them.
Yep, and get past that defensive line and into the safeties. Yeah, I was just looking at it in the last three games. They against Houston and Minnesota, they scored close to 30 points without the team even scoring. So how many they've had? One, two, three shutout wins, and they've
Yeah.
been almost nearly 30 points. So yeah, I mean they definitely know how to put the points on the board. So
yeah, I mean for me, I think that again looking at just this matchup in comparison to the others, I think the Colts are a dark horse for the title as well this year. I think that
yeah,
they're the most offensively capable team in the league as well. So whether that comes up trumps or not, that'll be an interesting thing to say. But yeah, for me, I think unfortunately Bills are going to have a tough time. I think Colts are probably going to get through this one.
yep.
Just the offensive threat, I think. Unfortunately, I think
Yeah,
we're both kind of agreeing with this one as well. Then,
yeah, I'll definitely pick the Colts in this one.
yeah, I think so too. I think a plus 30-point game, Colts. I can see this being something like 30, I don't know, 21 or something.
Yeah,
Probably just over a touchdown, I think. But I think it's a great run by the Bills though this season. I mean, if you compare the Bills to how they did in real life in the NFL in this year, to be 9-7 wild card against the Colts, I think is a magical run anyway, comparing where they were in terms of real life. So good effort by their GM, Sizzling Popcorn. I'm sure he'll watch this at some point, but a good effort there by them to get to this stage. But I think we're both saying they come up short here.
yeah, they'll probably just come up a little bit short against the Colts. Yeah, it's a good run. I think every team aims to get into the playoffs, even just the wild card. So I think if you compare with real life to what it is here, then I reckon you've done a good job, like to get to that position.
Yeah, and you've made a perfect segue there into our next game that we're going to talk about there. If you get into the wild card and to get to this stage is a fantastic run, and there's no other team that has done it better than the computer-led Baltimore Ravens, whose GM left, I think, a couple of games before the end of the regular season. And I believe the direction of travel for the Ravens for most of the season has been to put it bluntly, to not get in the playoffs. But they had a magical end season run with the computer in charge, setting the rotations for them. And they now find themselves in a divisional championship game against the New England Patriots after a tight contested game against the Chargers in the wildcard entry with Flacco just going absolutely nuts for them. I'm going to pull up the box score just to show you that. But so yeah, Flacco there, look, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, rating of 100, averaging 12 yards. A great effort by their quarterback there, and they're now against one of the elite teams in the CSFL this year.
Yeah, this one would be an interesting match as well. And I think the last one when we were on, I don't think either of us actually picked the Ravens, did we?
I didn't pick them to go into the wild card. No, I figured that because they were going to be computer run for the last couple of games, that they just wouldn't get there. The human GM would come through in the end. But obviously, we know that the deciding factor for the wildcard entries was probably not as accurate as the NFL one, to say the least. So that caused a bit of a stir, which meant that the Ravens got through on it. So yeah, they got through. They beat the Saints, which was surprising in itself. And they now find them against the Patriots, who are looking to steamroller everyone, I think, in this playoffs and postseason matchup.
Yeah, I think the Patriots will be too strong in this match anyway. I think the Ravens' run will probably end here. Yeah, Patriots have got too many options in this one. Same as I think the previous game with the Bills and the Colts. You've got where's the page? Well, you've got Gronkowski for starters. You've got Hernandez as receiving options. Edelman, Moss, Welker. Yeah, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got 5 options there, and when you've got those 5 options, that's very, very hard to stop. Very hard to stop, and they're elite in nearly every position imaginable on this roster. So I can't see the Patriots losing in this one. I cannot see it.
No, I agree with you. I think if the Ravens manage to beat the Patriots, this would be probably the best game of the season. To put it pretty bluntly, in that it'd be the biggest upset that we have seen so far.
I think so.
Yeah. When they played each other in the regular season, it was a crushing. The Patriots came through 28-6, and it wasn't even close at all throughout the game. I mean, I've scratched down here, no chance, question mark. I guess for me, the only thing that I have in terms of how the Ravens can somehow get a squeaker win out against the Patriots is that they have to, first of all, they have to keep the score tight. If they keep the score tight, then they're always within a shout. I don't know how they do that, by the way. I'm just stating that. I think that Flacco has to have the game of his life. It has to be a better game than he did against the Chargers. And that's saying a lot because he did play really well in that game. He managed the offense very well for them. And they, whilst Flacco's playing pretty well, they're also going to need to rely on some of their options in terms of offense in Mason and Bolden at wide receiver, to elite receiver options there. And Ray Rice needs to kind of continue his development and put up the game of his career so far to stand any chance. And the final thing I have here is they've got to keep the penalties low. If they can keep the penalties low, which I think they did pretty well against the Saints, against the Chargers, sorry, if I believe that was also quite a good deciding factor in that one. So they only, where is it? They didn't give up any penalties in that game. So if they can maintain that, keep the score low, and some of their offensive weapons have the absolute game of their life, then they might have a chance. And that is a lot of things that need to go right for the Ravens in this one.
Yeah, definitely. They need to, everything needs to go right in this game for the Ravens actually to win. And the penalties I think would be important because I've seen in playoff matches there's been a lot of penalties, and they do cost you. So they have to be really disciplined, but at the same time, they have to use their targets well too as well. So, I mean, this is computer generated, so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting,
and I think, I mean, the only hope they've got they've got to get a lot of things to go right, and I mean, there's a reason why the Patriots are one of the favourites to win the first ever CSFL season. They have so many offensive weapons, so many defensive weapons, and the Ravens don't have any of that really. They have some good talent guys, but some of them are young, still developing. Some of them are a bit inconsistent, and there's a lot of factors that need to go right for them in this one.
Yep. Yeah, and they have to go through Vince Wilfork.
I probably put this one down. If it was 28-6 in the regular season, the Patriots will probably step it up. I can see probably it being like a 20, 26, 27 game for the Patriots in this one.
Yeah, it'd be probably similar to the first game of the season. It'll be close to 30 points, if not over 30 points,
Yeah, I think so. I think this will
quite
be
easily.
the biggest margin game in this first set of initial playoff games.
Yeah.
I had to call it. Which leaves us with one final playoff matchup, which is yourself and the Seahawks up against the Saints here. And before I get your view on in terms of your, obviously you're not going to give away your game plan for the Saints on live on air, but to get your view on it to begin with, I'm going to just start just by saying that the regular season game, you guys trounced the Saints, I believe, and you won 34-7. So it wasn't a close matchup. A lot of things went very well for you then. What are the key factors that you're considering when you're going into this?
I think basically do the same thing as I did last game. Stop Breeze. Definitely stop Drew Brees, because I think last game that I done, I stopped Drew Brees. He didn't have a
You
good game,
did, yeah.
so 836 yards, 1 TD, 2 interceptions, and a pass rating of 45.8. So, yeah, I think the most important thing is to stop Drew Brees in this game. Actually, in saying that, after that loss, that heavy loss they had, they actually went on a big winning streak as well. So
They did. They lost to the Falcons again the next week. Then they had a bye week, and it seems that bye week, whatever they did there, recovered their team because they didn't lose again for the rest of the regular season. So
yeah, they know how to put up points too, I can see.
yeah, comfortably plus 30 in pretty much every game apart from the
Yeah,
Steelers game.
yeah. So I think the most important thing for me is to stop Drew Brees and getting through their offensive line as well. Like, because once you give Drew Brees time, then yeah, it's going to be tough. You got Reggie Bush, Colston, Graham, Shockey as receivers. Yeah, they have a lot of options there, and I think last time I played, they didn't have a really good game. So, but I know the talent is there, obviously. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll just have to
absolutely.
watch out.
Yeah, I mean, what I've got down here is so I sort of thought about, well, if I was going to game plan against the Saints for this one, for me, it's stopping the passing game if you can. So for me, I've got here that you're I think his name's Trufault, your cornerback.
Yeah, Truffin, whatever his name is.
It's going to be key for this one is in terms of stopping the most potent offensive weapon in terms of Colston. If he can shut that option down, then it means that the Saints are going to be relying on other players to make the big games for them, and that might swing it in your favor. And then I've also got in terms of you need to stop obviously Bush as well, because you can't, whilst you're stopping the passing game, you've got to try and stop the running game as well, which is difficult in itself. But if you can shut Bush down or an Ivory down, then it means that they're going to be forced to throw. And if you're matching up pretty well on that and playing well on that aspect, then it's going to be a very tough game for Breeze to get out of it, which is what I think your game plan did very well in your early season win against them.
Yeah.
It's difficult to tell. Again, very similar to the Packers and the Cowboys in that you guys played each other very early on in the season, and you both have gone on a complete tear since then in terms of wins and getting the strategy right for your team. There's going to be a completely different set of strategies and lineups probably that are going to play in this game as to the early season matchup.
Yeah, and I've get Hasselbeck back as well, because Delhomme started in the first week of the playoffs. I was really nervous that game because I was really nervous. I was really, really nervous, like, with that game, and I was like surprised with the result. And yeah, because Delhomme come in as like a replacement for two of my starting quarterbacks that got injured towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad I have Hasselbeck.
Oh,
back.
he had a good game against the Bears, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Whilst he didn't necessarily put up any touchdowns, it was kind of came from other plays, but he didn't turn the ball
yeah,
over. He got he hit his targets pretty well. So
yeah.
overall, it wasn't awful for you.
No, it wasn't awful. I was just had that feeling though, nervous feeling. Third down efficiency was terrible. I need to
Yeah,
improve that. Like 0 for 10. That was terrible. Like I need to really improve on that. And yeah, I think, and this is what I said previously, that the penalties do hurt you. There are 5 penalties there for 35 yards, and I think most of them come from touchdowns. Like I think so. Um, yeah, for me, it's going to be important for me to lower the penalty count, get my pass rush um, down pat. Um, yeah, I just need to stop Breeze, stop there. I think they're. Um, I'm just preparing for both actually because I think I'm just looking back in the last game that I played against them um, that I think what did I do? It was more like I think I stopped their passing game
you
from
did.
memory.
Yeah, you completely shut them down in
Yeah,
passing, which is the main thing I had here
yeah,
as to how you got that win initially. I
yeah,
mean, I guess looking at it from the Saints' perspective as well. So how if I was to game plan against you as the Saints, I'd be looking to shut down your passing game. It'd be the main thing. I'd be far more content if I had guys like Fawcett and Jones and Washington trying to make yardage in terms of rushing, than allowing you a passing game, because I feel that's where your strength is on offense.
yeah,
That'd be my main go-to point. And then on for the Saints offense going forward, I'll try and keep it as balanced as I possibly can so that you can't lock me down in a particular area or particular style of strategy, and hope that Breeze just makes the right calls, because that's why you have a quarterback like Breeze, is that he can, read and change things at the line, and he's got all the elite talent around him to make the plays. Just give him the options to do it. Basically, don't force him into a rushing or into a passing game against a team like yourselves where you're going to strategize pretty well, which is what you've done throughout the season. So,
yeah.
um, tough one. So I guess the regular season it was 34-7. I think we both agree it's not going to be that score for this one.
No,
It's going to be a lot closer. Obviously, you're going to say that the Seahawks are going to come out on top. I probably have this one going down to a field goal in terms of 3 points. That's where I have the difference here. If I had to call it, if I had to put money on it and say, I'd probably, looking at it just on talent, I'd probably say the Saints. I hate to say it, Gilbert, but I probably would. But we know talent's not everything, because the Seahawks, as we talked about on the last episode, as an individual talent, you're not the best team, but as a collective, you are one of the better teams in the league. So that's going to be really interesting to see. But for me, I think playoffs always rely on your top tier talent to make the extra play, to get the yardage that you need to stop that offense. For me, I think the Saints just have very slightly too much for you in this one.
yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. I'm obviously going to say the Seahawks. Yeah, there needs to be things that need to go my way. Um, like
Yeah, I'd be worried if
to
you said
win.
the Saints, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I could be playing mind games and everything and
You
say,
could,
yeah, the Saints. But yeah, I give myself a chance. I give myself a chance.
yeah,
Um, but I think out of the NFC, I think even the Cowboys are actually, as a talent wise, are actually better than the Seahawks talent wise. So
yeah. That's true.
I'm actually the fourth ranked team you per se. So, but yeah, I think
Yeah, For me, I mean, I know these are all matchups based on the division and conference and everything, but for me, out of those four teams, I would have personally, I think you'd have beaten Dallas quite comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Packers, you would probably just have too much for you. And I feel the Saints and yourself are probably the two closest in terms of where you are in terms of team and results and strategy and things. That's where I kind of see it.
Yeah.
And you beat the Bears, who many had down as probably being one of the who should have been one of the better defensive teams in the league, and you came through that quite comfortable in the end. So who knows? The Saints, as I said, I think I have it down as sort of 3-point gap. It's going to be that close, I think.
Yeah, it could even go to overtime as well. So
It could well do, yeah.
Yeah, and look, if I can get through this game, I think making the conference championship, I think I'd be pretty happy with my season getting there. Probably, I think I did say the Packers early on. I think, and playing in the conference championship probably against the Packers, I'll be happy with that season.
Yeah, that would be a fantastic first season for the Seahawks and yourself in the league, and a great building platform going into next season as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think there'll be 4 interesting matchups, and yeah, I think we're set for a good playoffs. Actually, there's going to be whoever comes out of the AFC. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be, and it's going to be a good Super Bowl too. So,
yeah, I agree with you. I think what's been great about the CSFL to begin the first season is that we've had wild card upsets and Cinderella stories go through. I mean, I don't know about you, but I know the Bills have got a very good GM and had a good start to the season, but I still had the Steelers going through against them, but they got through. The Ravens beating the Chargers was an upset, and then we've got to the actual playoffs games, and we've now got proper elite teams in the Packers and the Patriots. Cinderella stories that I've just mentioned, and then some really good teams really in terms of yourself and the Seahawks, and the Colts, who are shouldn't be underwritten. So I think we've got a good mix of different types of teams, and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes through into the playoffs and into the actual the Super Bowl itself, because I don't think that the Super Bowl is going to have the two teams that we probably were expecting. I think there will be an upset at some point.
Yeah, there'll be definitely an upset in and around there somewhere, and it'll probably most likely and it's going to be like at the start of the season. I think everyone had the Packers and Patriots. I think.
Yeah, that's probably fair to say.
Yeah, and I think it still is quite easily. But I got a feeling that only one of those teams will go through. It's just that feeling that something can happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can. I mean, I can see probably one of them getting through, but I can't see them both.
Yeah.
I just think the gap, as in terms of as people have learned how to play the game in the DDS pro football game, and as trades have been made, the gap between those two teams and the rest of the league, in terms of the playoff teams we've got here, has shortened a little bit. So when we probably looked at the start of the season, we were thinking, oh god, the Patriots are going to go 16-0, the Packers are going to go 16-0. I think it's going to be a lot closer now.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes on Sunday. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing how it goes as well. Like the Cowboys and Packers, that's one matchup I'm looking forward to see who wins out of that. I'll be very interested.
Yeah,
and I think probably Bills and Colts as well. Like I don't know, something tells me that might be a good game as well.
Yeah,
outside of my game, obviously.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's all to play for on Sunday. Who knows what's going to come out? And I'm sure the conference championships will have 4 interesting teams in there to talk about. But obviously, whilst there's the side of the playoffs and the teams that are doing well and winning, there's the teams that are not doing as well and obviously haven't got to this stage to begin with. And leads us into the second half of the episode here today to conduct the draft lottery. So, Gilbert, obviously you are going to be the man who is going to draw the numbers out of the hat for us. But before we do that, I thought I'd explain to you and to the league a little bit about how the lottery is done here in the CSFL. And because when we look at the NFL, obviously it's just the worst team essentially gets the first round pick, I believe, and then it just goes from there, doesn't it? So
Yep.
In terms of how this is done, it's explained in the CBA, but basically the 20 teams who didn't make the playoffs enter into a draft lottery system where, you know, the team with the best record will get one chance at essentially getting the number one pick. The team with the, you know, who has a lost less will have two, and so on in terms of groups right the way through. So the way this happens is that basically the worst teams will still have the best chance at landing the number one pick, but it's not as high as, say, you know, the old NBA lottery odds where you'd have a 25% chance, because, you know, we're looking at 20 teams, not 15. So basically it means that teams that are tanking are not always guaranteed to have, you know, the best players in the draft, and likewise a team that's just missed the wild card, you know, gets almost a sort of a semi reward because they get, you know, a ticket into the hat to try and land, you know, the number one pick in the draft. So the way we do it here is obviously we assign those tickets depending on the record. Just explain the CBA if you want to know. And basically what we do is we put the teams down as a list in order to begin with, you know. So Carolina will have X number depending on their worst record they had this year. And then we use a random number generator, or formula, I should say, to basically reorder the list so that it's completely random. And then once we've reordered it, we assign numbers to it in order. But obviously, this is out of order because I've done some messing around with this example here. But the idea being is that we're going to go from pick number 1 to pick 20. Gilbert, you are going to be the man with the numbers to list them out. So, for example, if Gilbert were to say, I don't know, number 15, then Cleveland would have the number one pick in this situation. Sorry, Cleveland, but you're not number 15, and this is not the right one. So, obviously, the numbers here in this example are not the live ones. The live ones are hidden and randomized, and I've reordered them. So I don't know what the numbers are at all. So when we get to this live entry, we'll see here's our top 20 picks, where Gilbert's going to give me some numbers between 1 and 83, because that's the number of tickets that are in this sort of hypothetical random order. And on the right-hand side, we'll see whether the team has been picked or not, or the first round pick that was assigned to that team has been picked or not, so that we don't have, you know, Carolina having 5 first-round picks when they only have 1 first-round pick this year. So that's how it's going to work. And we're going to start with the number 1 pick and go down, because obviously the odds we assign in the CBA and for this are all towards the number 1 pick to begin with. And then as teams go out, obviously it'll go that way. So are you ready for this, Gilbert? Are you nervous about who you're going to draw here? Has anyone sent you any messages? I don't think anyone actually knew you were going to come on and do this, so hopefully not.
No, nobody has sent me nothing, and I'm just writing down some numbers actually on my notepad.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, I guess the fun thing about this is, as I said, the bit that I really like about this that makes the league unique, in my opinion, is that, like it or love it, the worst team is not going to definitely have the first round pick. You can see here Carolina have a 10% chance of landing the first round pick, but obviously other teams who just missed the playoffs, who perhaps had a good start to the season, finished poorly for whatever reason, have a chance as well, but not as significant as other sports leagues, sports leagues that are in America, I believe, in draft systems. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see how it happens. I mean, you've got 1 to 83 to play with, Gilbert. I guess teams like Carolina, Philadelphia, Minnesota, Cincinnati are probably really hoping that you draw their name out the hat to begin with. I guess teams like the Jets, Atlanta, Houston, who have got Tennessee's pick, San Francisco, teams like that are probably, going to be loving it if they get the number one pick, considering how they had pretty good seasons in the end. I guess the one for me, Gilbert, actually, before we do this, to bring the suspense a little bit more, is the Houston pick, because obviously the Tennessee Titans came out of the playoffs at the wildcard entry late on in the season. Most people expected them to be a lock in the playoffs because of the moves they made.
Mm-hmm.
They obviously didn't get the wild card due to this, let's call it a strange ruling that the DDS Pro Football Engine has.
Yep.
If they were to land the number one pick here, does that completely reverse I think it was the very first or second trade the CSFL ever had, which I can't remember the wide receiver they traded off. It was one of the better wide receivers in the league. I can't remember off the top of my head. But does that completely change how that trade looks now?
I think it will. And I think it's pretty savvy trading by Houston. I reckon.
It looks like it now, doesn't it?
It does. When they have a, what is it, 6% plus 1%? Oh, they got a 7% chance.
Yeah. So they have the 1% with Tennessee, obviously, and they have 6% off of their own record.
Yeah. I think Houston were cheering for me to get their numbers right.
So it was Andre Johnson. That was it. It was Andre Johnson who Josh, if you're listening, the Titans GM, he's not as good as Megatron. So probably wasn't a good deal anyway, because Megatron's a better wide receiver. But anyway, I guess interesting one. Have you got some numbers listed?
I've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 at the moment.
Okay. Have you got one in your mind that is going to be the number one pick?
Yes, I do.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you happy with that number? Have you picked that number for a particular reason, or is it just the first one that came into your head? Or
there is a particular reason. It's my birthday.
It's your birthday, okay.
And
so hopefully your birthday is not just lucky for you, but it's lucky for another team in the CSFL to land the number one pick.
I'm hoping Carolina, to be honest.
You're hoping Carolina. I think we're all hoping Carolina, because I think Carolina need it the most, don't they? Unfortunately, they've had a tough season. Was it 2-14 they finished in the end? I think.
Yeah.
Let me just double check.
I think so.
They finished 2-14. I think they got trounced by pretty much everyone. Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready now?
I'm ready.
Okay. Right. So what is the number that is going to be the number one pick?
28.
28. Okay, let's put it in.
Please,
are you
Carolina.
Ready?
Yes, please, Carolina.
Carolina! Oh, I bet they are so relieved by that.
Oh, phew. I was hoping it wasn't going to be the 1% chance teams. Oh, geez, I'm.
Carolina have the number one pick in the CSFL this year. Let me have a quick look, actually, because I can't remember who we had down as the draftees this year. Oh, that's the wrong league. So if we go to the right league first. There we go. Where's the draft headquarters? Do we put it in here? No, we put it in the draft media. So some of the names who could be the first round pick. Quarterbacks, we've got Cam Newton, obviously. He's probably the biggest name there. Christian Ponder as well. Let me scroll through quickly. Running backs, Alfred Morris, I think, probably a good name.
Yeah.
Fullbacks, let's be honest, the fullback is not going to go number one. Doesn't matter how good they are. This is just proving my NFL knowledge this year is not particularly great. I don't I don't see any good wide receivers that I know off the top of my head who are elite ones.
No, that's what I'm
I,
thinking too.
I definitely need to do some scouting because when that comes around in the actual engine, I need to do some scouting because I don't know hardly any of these guys.
Maybe Torrey Smith.
Igwen
He's a wide
Nagu,
receiver.
I believe, was a good tight end. Let me have a look. I believe that. Did we have? I'm sure we had JJ Watt in there as well.
Yeah.
I just missed him completely. I can't see him. Have I got to go down? Oh, there he is.
Defensive end.
JJ Watt. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, Carolina, you've got a few options, I think, off the top of my head from what I can see. So yeah, congratulations, Carolina. You have the first round pick. I'm sure Kyrus, the GM there, is very relieved to get that. But obviously, we can't just stop with the number 1 pick. We've got to do all 20. So number 2, have you got a number in mind, and does it have a particular reason at all, or is it just a random number for you?
My mum's year when she was born, so 54.
Okay, 54. Right, let's see who has the number 2 pick. So obviously Philadelphia, all of these percentages on the right-hand side for the number 1 pick obviously will change slightly, probably increase for a lot of the teams because Carolina's 10% has gone out. But let's see us the number 2 pick. Denver have jumped a lot into the number 2 pick there. The Broncos. The Broncos are going to have the number 2 pick in the draft.
Oh, wow.
Crazy. So Denver, who finished 6 and 10, had a 5% chance at landing number 1, not number 2. Have come in there and snuck in at number 2.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's crazy. Whoa. Jeez.
So it means that Philadelphia have dropped, along with pretty much every other team who's above them. So Oakland, Houston, LA, Tampa, Detroit, Cincinnati, Minnesota, Philadelphia are all going to be dropping probably at least. Let's see who's number 3 then. So what number have you got in mind for number 3?
8.
8, just a flat 8.
Just a flat 8.
So I should warn people that as we're going through this, as we put some of these numbers in, obviously it might return a Carolina or a Denver again because of the way that the tickets are assigned. If that happens, we'll obviously delete that number out. We'll note that we've used that number so we don't pick it again. Okay, so number 8. Is there any reason for number 8 or just
a random?
Just a random number. Okay. Number 8. Tampa Bay have the 3rd pick of the CSFL draft. Tampa, I believe, finished at 5-11, I think it was.
5-11, I think, yeah.
Yeah. So finished 5-11. So good pick, good move for them. But Philadelphia are continuing to drop along with Minnesota and Cincinnati here. So yeah, move on to pick number 4. What number have you got?
There's going to be a few teams spewing, I think. 17.
17. Okay, let me just enter that in.
Yeah.
17. Right, let's see who it is. Houston, who we were talking about earlier, had the 6% chance and had obviously Tennessee's pick as well. Yeah. Have landed the number 4 pick. Pretty solid for them in the end. I'm sure they'll be very happy with that.
Yeah. And Philadelphia, Minnesota, and Cincinnati all continue to drop too.
They do, yeah. So it's worth pointing out as well here at this point that if we get a Houston that's just Houston without the brackets via Tennessee, then obviously that pick does not count. We're just looking for that one ticket of the Houston via Tennessee if they do come up again. So don't worry, people. Houston's 6% that they would have had, how many tickets that's assigned to, that's now obviously struck from the record. So on to pick number 5. Will this be Philadelphia?
I hope so, for my sake anyway. 37.
37. Okay, let's see who it is. Detroit.
Ooh,
Oh,
ooh.
number 5 pick for Detroit. Thank you very much, I have to say. I'll take number 5. That's good for me.
Well, you haven't dropped. You're neither dropped or
No. Well, I
increased.
mean,
So,
it's slightly difficult because obviously all the ones that had 6% chance will have the same number of like tickets, lines assigned to them.
yeah,
So, I mean, I was joint number 5 with Tampa Bay and Houston, who have also been picked as well. So, thank you. I'll take number 5. That's a good start for me to rebuild the Detroit Lions after a good start to the season and a terrible end to the season in the end.
yeah.
Let me just, I believe we've got another guest joining us now who we knew was going to be late, but has arrived to the party when we are just getting through some of the draft lottery. Josh, how are you? Titans GM. It's good to have you here.
Hey, I'm glad to be back. I've missed my appearances on the shows.
You
But
have,
thank you.
and you're in the thick of the lottery now for the CSFL draft. So I guess
Yes.
the you could probably see it on the screen here where we're going so far. But
Yep.
any initial reactions?
Congratulations on having the 5th pick overall and not dropping, because my first initial reaction is, oh my God, 3 teams have already dropped.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
They have, and I think Gilbert was rather relieved that Carolina got the number 1 pick in the end.
I bet he was. I'm actually kind of relieved that Carolina got the number 1 pick. I was afraid that Houston was going to reap the benefits of my surprise lottery appearance, and they're in my division. So yes, NFC, keep getting high lottery picks.
So we're kind of hoping that Philadelphia come out soon, along with Minnesota and Cincinnati, because we don't want teams dropping that far, hopefully. So
Yeah.
Gilbert, have you got another number for us?
Yeah, I do. 19.
19. Okay. Detroit again. Gonna have to pick again with that one. 19.
Okay.
I will quickly note. Hang on. I will note 19 has been used, but it was assigned to Detroit. I would take the 5th and 6th round pick. That wouldn't be that'd be okay for me.
I bet you would.
But let's go to the next number you've got.
24.
24. Philadelphia.
Yay.
Hey.
I'm sure there's a bit of relief there that they haven't dropped too far. They're still within a good range, I think, to pick up someone good, hopefully.
I'm pleased about that now.
Yeah, I love the idea of a lottery, but part of me is hoping that teams don't drop too far, because I mean the NFL is just a slightly different beast. One player isn't going to be totally transformative to your team. It's kind of different from the NBA.
No. It's worth pointing out as well that whilst we do this for the first 20 picks of the first round, the remaining subsequent second round and to the 7th round are all normal order. So whilst Philadelphia have...
I love the way you guys did this. That's all I was going to say. I love the idea. I think it gives a lot of fun to the draft, and I like that it's only the first round.
Yeah, and then whilst Philadelphia, have the 6th pick here, which they've dropped a little bit, they'll still have. I think it'd be the 32nd pick, won't it? So they'll still have, they'll still have a high second round pick. So, yeah, hopefully people enjoy it, and it makes it a bit more interesting, I think, and it stops teams just completely bottoming out, I think, because the odds are slightly less. But we're on to pick 7. Gilbert, what number have we got now?
80.
80. Okay. Detroit again. You could have picked my number. You could have picked my number 1. That'd have been nice. Give me 3 numbers now. You could have said that one earlier.
The entire draft will now be Detroit.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so I'll note down 80. We've used 19 and 80 so far as numbers that avoid.
Okay. I'm just going to go to a different extreme. 2.
2. Okay. Jacksonville.
Wow.
So Jacksonville jumped up quite considerably there with
that is a huge leap.
5%.
Jeez.
So a good draft lottery for them, certainly.
Jeez. Okay.
Okay,
Jeez.
let's go to pick 8.
I'll try it. 62.
62. Arizona.
Wow.
Nice.
Arizona have jumped as well. 4% chance. They now have gone from, I think that would have been, what's that, pick 16, pick 15, no, pick 14 maybe, up to pick 8. So a good result for Arizona.
Jeez.
Are we doing a snake draft as well?
No, I think it's just standard.
Okay, I was just
So no,
wanted to be
I
sure.
think it's just a standard draft. The only bit that's different is this top 20 picks.
I got my hopes up for a second.
Yeah, we can't give you too much talent.
Oh.
Okay, pick 9.
48.
48. Kansas.
Oh, man, the NFC is dominating this draft.
Jeez.
Minnesota, Cincinnati, and the Rams are all dropping now. Oakland probably dropping as well now. So, yeah, see how this pans out. Okay, next one. Pick 10 to round out the top 10.
Jeez. Oh my. What am I doing? 6.
6. Okay. Carolina. Okay. They're gone, so we can't use pick number 6.
Okay.
Can I pick one?
Go.
13.
13. Unlucky for some. Tampa Bay.
Oh,
Tampa
they've
Bay
already
have,
been picked too.
not too a significant drop for Tampa Bay, hopefully there, but
Do they have 2 picks?
they only have 1, I believe.
Yeah, they've already been picked. Then they're in
They've
the
already
third
been
spot.
picked.
Oh, okay. Good spot, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, Tampa Bay, you haven't dropped. Ignore me. Okay, so what pick? That's number 13, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Anyone got another number then?
I'm a Laker fan, so I'm gonna go with 32. Good old. Yeah.
Houston.
Already picked.
It's already gone.
Hang on just for a minute. I'll be back in a moment.
Okay, so it's worth pointing out the numbers are going to be a bit harder as we go along because obviously a lot of them are going to be defunct.
Not a problem. I guess I can take over the guessing for a little while.
Yeah, go for it. What number you got next?
Let's go with 72.
72. Houston again.
Ooh. 81.
81. Philadelphia. Go again.
33.
33. Miami.
Nice.
Miami round out the top 10.
You're welcome,
2% chance. They've had a good season and a good lottery. I think there's something to do with the GM at Miami. He just seems to have a bit of luck in fantasy drafts and in online leagues, I believe.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that, man.
Anyone who's in the CSL, you'll know what we mean by that. He does very well with his first round picks there. Okay, next number. What have we got?
Let's go with is 0 a number? Oh, that's 1 through 80. 1 through 81. Okay, I see it. 1 through 81. 1.
1. Cincinnati finally get on the board.
I should have went number 1. I would have got number 1.
Yeah, should have stuck number one. Yeah, okay. Cincinnati, unfortunately, you've dropped, I'm afraid, but not too bad. You're still in 11. You'll still be okay there, I think. Okay, who have we got next? What number?
Here's an idea. 83.
83.
Probably New York Jets.
Philadelphia, so they've already been picked. 83 has been used.
10.
10. Philadelphia.
Man.
So for those of you who are still watching, teams like Philadelphia, Carolina will have more times they'll appear as duplicates because they had more odds basically. Okay, 10's been used. What next number have we got?
Keep it simple. 2.
2. Jacksonville, which has been used.
Have you guys tried 30?
We have not. Would you like to try 30?
Yeah, let's just give it a go.
Philadelphia.
Wow, we have hit Philly quite a bit. We should. They're probably a little annoyed that didn't happen earlier.
Yeah, probably.
Let's try. Has 21 been done yet?
No, it has not. 21. Philadelphia.
Philly must be spewing, I reckon.
21's been used. Okay.
Your turn, Gilbert.
67.
67. Tampa Bay.
69.
You guys are good at hitting the already used teams. LA Rams. There we go. There's a new team. The LA Rams have finally got on the board.
That'll be really good for them. They have quite a few holes to fill.
They do, yeah. They needed a solid pick here.
Oh, geez, I feel sorry for Minnesota.
Yeah, me too.
They're dropping. Let's see. 36?
36. San Francisco. 49ers move up.
Jeez.
What about 6?
6. I believe we've used 6.
5?
5. San Fran. 5's been used.
Try 82.
82. Tampa Bay.
I am amazed that we can't get Minnesota. 15.
15 has not been used. Cleveland.
You're welcome, V Gorilla.
Browns have secured themselves pick 14 there. Not too bad for the Browns. They had a pretty bad start to the season, but they actually recovered quite well, I think, in the end.
Yeah, no, they have. I mean, they have a great GM, and he eked out every ounce of, mustard he could get out of that team. They overperformed.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Please be next pick Minnesota at least.
Do we have
48?
48. Kansas, I believe, have already been picked.
Yeah. Go, Josh.
22.
22. Denver, who I believe have been picked.
Yeah.
22.
77.
77.
Please be Minna.
Cleveland.
Oh my gosh.
Poor Minnesota. I mean, can't make this up.
Really? 40.
40. Rams.
Has number 3?
Number 3 has not been picked, no.
I'll go number 3 for Minnesota.
Carolina.
4. They've got to have one in the 10. So 4.
Let's try and keep it random. Let's not. There we go. 4 Minnesota. Pick 15.
All right, I won't do that again. But I just felt like I had to play the odds there, man. Minnesota was breaking my heart.
It's going to be more difficult as we go along because I mean the Atlanta, Houston, Jets will all have one number, and we'll have to get that.
Oh jeez.
So no pressure, guys. We might be here for a little while, but that's fine. We should just be able to quickly mash through some numbers there.
Hey, I'm surrounded.
So have we got a number for pick 16?
I think you
12.
said 12.
12.
Yeah, 12.
Oakland. Cool. So we're down to final 4 teams now.
I mean, I think we're doing pretty
odds.
well. Washington. 18.
18. Washington. There we go.
Yes.
I am going to the casino later.
Go put it all on red. That's all I'm saying. Everything on Washington red. So, okay, this is the difficult bit, guys, unfortunately for you. In that, as I said, Atlanta, Houston, the Jets will all have just one ticket, one number that will be assigned to them because of the way the odds are done. So we're going to have to get that. So it means we'll probably just have to quickly bash through some numbers here. So if you quick fire me some numbers and I'll quickly delete them and we'll try and go as quick as possible here.
58.
No.
8.
8. I think we've already had. Yeah.
14.
No.
10.
No.
78.
No.
60.
No.
52.
No.
80.
No.
74.
No.
Oh,
83.
No.
35.
35. Houston via Tennessee.
Dope.
So Houston have given him a nice pick 18. So congratulations there. Unfortunately, Josh, you've jumped him up a couple of spots. Okay, so we've got 2 spots left.
45.
No.
Go 40. Go 44.
44. Okay.
Yeah.
Atlanta, which means that I won't put it in, but I'll just type it in, shall I? The New York Jets end up with the 20. Oh, if I can spell New York Jets. New York Jets end up with the 20th pick, and that rounds out our top 20. Any initial reactions, guys?
Denver.
Yeah.
Denver going up to the number 2 pick is crazy.
That team's not too far off of being a good team. That was a major leap.
Yeah. Well, I guess congratulations to the Carolina Panthers. You survived our first lottery and held on to the number 1 pick. And Denver, as you said, climbing up. But mate, it's going to be an interesting draft, I think, now with some of these teams moving up and moving down. What do? Do they trade to go up or stay where they are? It's going to be fascinating to watch. But obviously, before we get to that stage, we've got the playoffs first of all, which we talked about at the beginning of this episode. And best of luck to yourself, Gilbert, in your playoff matchup against the Saints. Myself and Josh will just be watching, unfortunately, hoping that the off season comes a bit quicker, that we can rebuild and retool our teams going into next season. But thanks for joining us, both of you.
No worries. Thanks for having me.